Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 95. Let's begin again. Recorded on Friday, May 22nd, 2020. From Zenatta Consulting, I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the news.
Yes, we'll start off with some CRM news here today. So a couple really cool things for Zoho CRM. We have you can now actually create a record through workflows. This is nice. I mean, this is something we've done for a long time using some custom functions and some Deluge scripts, but pretty cool, Tyler. I don't know if you had a chance to play with this or not.
Yes, this is kind of similar to, if you have a different workflow that might be creating a task or doing a quick field update, they basically just added another action where you can create a record. And so this is normally something that, like you just mentioned, right, you'd have to do with a custom function in Deluge. There's definitely still going to be times where you may want to do this through Deluge anyways, right? If there's some other actions that also need to happen, or if you need to do some editing or tweaking to the data, reformatting, as you're creating that record. But there's definitely going to be a really nice way for when you want to create one with kind of a simpler process. And it looks like in here, they're allowing you to create records, pulling in fields from whichever record you're triggering this from. So if you're triggering it from a company, you could create a deal and name that deal, the account name, or information from that account can be pulled directly into the record.
Yeah, and you can add as many fields as you want and pull those in from the various records. So it's kind of nice. I'm not sure, like if you're in a deal and you've got an account associated with it and a contact associated with it, and you're trying to create a record off of there, if maybe you can pull in from all of the different ones. I haven't played around with it that level yet, but
it looks like you can. So it looks like you're actually able to pull from related records as well.
Yeah, that's going to be nice. Yeah, I just kind of briefly toyed with it. And I know it's been sitting in our account for a while, I think for a week or two. You said you've seen it, but I think it just got released into the wild. This came out just a day ago, so it came out on Thursday. So pretty cool stuff all the way around. And then my favorite new addition, you can now actually have image uploads in the CRM. So what's different than this, than doing attachments? It's nice. It creates a super nice gallery for you. You can have up to 10 images in each one of these little galleries you create. You could have 2 of those per module that you put in. No more than 20 megabytes for all of your images. So you're not this is not where you're storing all your high resolution photography, that's for sure. But pretty nice. And it's not just, you can also go in this gallery and you can crop the images and make some adjustments to them. So a pretty nice thing. This is something they've asked for a while. We've had images. You could put kind of a featured image, if you will, up in there. And a lot of people have been kind of using that for Kanban views and not Kanban views, for Canvas views. And oftentimes that's just a picture of the person you're talking to, or in real estate, people are putting houses here. But I think this is going to go a lot further. And matter of fact, the example they're using here is for real estate. And I have a feeling a lot of our real estate clients are going to like this. The 20 megabytes, though, that's a little tough.
A little tight. It's a little bit tight if you want to upload high-res images.
It really is.
If you're thinking about like a real estate agent, there's a lot of different pictures that you may want of a listing that you have out. And I think you're going to bump into that 20 meg pretty quickly.
You are. So we'll see what that looks like. But you get 10 images of a house. I guess if they're 2 megs a piece, that's not horrible. I just don't think you're not shooting in some.
Yeah. And I'm sure if they get some feedback, this is new, right? So you're probably starting simple. I'd imagine that, if they get a lot of feedback that the limit needs to be higher, they're generally flexible with this stuff.
Yeah. And you can also change the orientation. So it's kind of nice. Build yourself a little gallery inside your records. I can see this being a big thing. So
Absolutely.
Be curious to see where we go with that. All righty. And then moving on with the news, more CRM. Zoho is this isn't, I guess, necessarily a new suite. I don't know. They're calling it Zoho CRM's Remote Sales Office. And it's a new bundle where you have to have the CRM. And if you have the CRM, you can add Cliq, Meeting, and Showtime. So Cliq is your inter-office communications, and we talked about it last week. That application is growing by leaps and bounds from a remote management standpoint. You can check in now as an employee and note that you're out to lunch, or you're available, or you're busy for meetings, all those kind of things. Zoho Meeting, which is their version of Zoom and GoToMeeting and WebEx, and Showtime, which is basically allows you to, is almost like I would say a webinar kind of application. Has a lot more features, does training. It's just got a couple little quirks that kind of hold us back on that. But they're bundling all these together, and they're going to be free till August 31st. And then after that, you can add them for $9 per user per month. So pretty neat. I think it's got some possibilities. We'll see where it goes. I certainly wish they would fix the Showtime's ability to record and the quality of the recordings that it does. I think once they get there, just a couple other things, that's really a great application. I'd love to stop paying the $140 a month for Zoom webinars that they charge to move over to Showtime. But this is a great bundle for people who are going to continue to work remote, and maybe they just have the CRM. They don't have Zoho One or anything else.
And I kind of like this idea of them creating these little bundled add-ons, right? So it's like, rather than it being a bundle of products that you sign up, from day one to use, you can kind of add on or bolt on these little bundles for some additional functionality. So it'd be cool to see them do some more of these.
Yep. And then our Zoho Notebook, the web clipper, got a major update, and it's really all around online meetings is the purpose of this, but it's much cleaner. I have to say, this is a 2.0 update. It's kind of a nice overhaul, but if you are actually in any sort of a meeting, whether it's WebEx or Zoom or Zoho Meeting or any of those, it basically will it basically pulls up this nice little note area for you. So you actually can take all the minutes and the notes directly in whatever meeting you're in. And it's kind of nice. Then it just goes ahead and drops it right into Notebook for you. So, they keep making improvements to this, and we'll talk about Zoho Notebook a little bit later.
Yeah, it seems like, I've always liked the UI of this. There's just a couple of these little tools that I know they're working on that I think would take it over the line where, we'd probably start using it.
Yeah, it's getting close, but this is a nice update. I tried it out. It works really well. Nice little feature to have it kind of pop in to your meeting notes as well, I got to say, one of these online meetings. All righty. And then we've got 3 other products, got some a little bit of news this week. Zoho Workerly, which is the application to manage your remote hourly workers, contract workers, has new rate rules that they've put in place. Did you get a chance to look at this?
No, I haven't quite taken a dive in yet.
It's pretty straightforward. So basically, you can now set up like overtime rates and special rates, and just drop somebody into a bucket that says this is how we're going to pay these people based upon this set of rules. Kind of similar to price books, I think, if you were to look at it, right? So if you're familiar with price books inside of Zoho Books or Zoho Inventory, you can create a price book that applies a whole special set of pricing on all of your products to specific categories or purposes or whatever you want to do. They're kind of applying this to people in this case so that you can define how you will actually pay your people based upon these various rules. So pretty nice improvement.
Yeah, this is not an app that we generally spend a ton of time with just because it's kind of outside of the Zoho One umbrella, but definitely an interesting one if you do have contract employees who are, out in the field that you need to manage.
And then Zoho Desk, woohoo, this is a big one, had a they call it a small but significant enhancement. And this is all around their email templates and how to navigate to the email templates, how to access these templates, how to reply. Email templates have not been fun to work with in Zoho Desk. And I have to say, this is just a really, really welcome enhancement.
Yeah, they're basically here giving you the ability to drop these templates into your ticket responses, where previously you just had to use snippets, right, to do any type of pre-canned messages. Now they've made those all accessible directly in the ticket. So I wouldn't say small but significant. I would just say significant, because this is a big quality of life improvement for being able to template out interactions with your customers.
Yeah, and it's just something that so necessary. It's so necessary for such a long time. So kudos to the Desk team. This will make Desk a heck of a lot more user-friendly across the board. And then, this is odd. I thought that this launch already occurred, But Zoho Begin, which is their entry level CRM, kind of like a pipe drive kind of a CRM, really stripped down, officially launched this week. So they had fanfare and blog posts and lots of press releases, and it was kind of all over the place. I guess we've been talking about it for so long that I just assumed it was already out.
Yeah, the one interesting thing that stands out to me here is that it's Bigin by Zoho CRM. So it's kind of saying it's related to the CRM, but we haven't seen anything around a real integration, right? Where you could actually pull data back and forth between those two apps. So hopefully it's kind of teasing that may be in the pipeline, pun intended, but
Yeah.
it'd be nice to see, and hopefully something that'll happen here.
Well, and they added in a whole bunch of things last week, right? So we got campaigns integration into Begin, and then we have Gmail integration into Begin, and there was one other desk, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all of those things starting to get added in. It's kind of, it's almost, there's a part of me that looks at this and it's almost like, okay, this is our own, we're starting afresh with a whole new UI and a whole new way of looking at the CRM. And so much of what we see in Begin is what we saw over a year ago at Zoholics 2019 when they said, hey, here are some of the improvements that are coming to CRM from a look and feel perspective. And we talk about this over and over again, but anyway, I guess it's official. And telephony's in there. The workflow automations are now turned on. Full mobile. I just, it could be something for people, and it's part of Zoho One. That's the other thing. So you almost can say, I'm just gonna buy Zoho One and use Begin instead of CRM, because maybe you just want a real stripped down CRM and you don't need everything that's in Zoho CRM across the board. Pricing on it, I guess if you're just to buy it by itself, relatively cheap. $10, $9 a month if you pay monthly, and $7 if you pay yearly. It is relatively limited, but man, it's not bad for a basic CRM, Tyler.
No, absolutely not. It'd be so slick if you could use it as kind of a top layer of Zoho CRM, right? So you're looking at your deals in there and maybe data is being passed back and forth, triggering some workflows. There's definitely a lot of potential for them to use it as kind of the UI and user-friendly version, right? Yeah. That kind of ties into the mothership.
Absolutely. All right, Tyler. So what do you have for our implementation of the week?
Yeah, so this week it was a analytics implementation here, tying in from the CRM. So basically, we may remember a couple shows back, actually, I guess more than a couple, maybe a couple months back, we announced that Zoho was going to deprecate Zoho Motivator, which was previously used to kind of score CRM activity and create these little dashboards and games. And so we had a client request that basically sounded a whole lot like Motivator, right? Where you're assigning some point totals and you're scoring and you're going to compare and contrast different users, maybe run some games. But normally we would just build this in Motivator, but given that that's going to go away here, we decided to do the same thing over in Analytics. So basically we set up the CRM to Analytics connector, right? Pull all that data over to Analytics. We built out some simple formula columns for deals, leads, and calls that basically assigns points to calls placed, to leads converted, and to deals that were won. You can make those point totals variable, right? So they could be, different users are getting different points or different parameters. So maybe the length of a call, how long it took to convert a lead, or the size of the deal can all affect the different amount of points that each activity gets. And then we have a dashboard to roll up those different scores for various CRM activities. So again, it's kind of a workaround, right? Because Motivator is going away. But one of the advantages is that you do get a whole lot more customization in terms of how you're going to present that data, how you're going to calculate your points, just because of how robust Zoho Analytics is.
Yeah, you can't make it quite as pretty, but I think we're going to...
Yeah, not quite as pretty.
No, but more and more we'll see that this is probably going to be the case. Now they're saying that, stay tuned. Everything that was in Motivator, you're going to get in various other applications. I don't know what
I think game scope is the big one that they're planning on moving this stuff to.
I don't know.
But I've not seen any updates really roll out for that quite yet.
No, but a couple interesting features go on a tangent here, but if you look at Zoho CRM, GameScope, and what is it? What's the mail one, Tyler?
Sales inbox.
Sales Inbox. Boy, two little applications that sit inside of Zoho CRM that have so much potential. And I don't think there's been any work on them since they came out, really. I mean, nothing. I mean, and Sales Inbox, that's one we always people get tripped up on it. They get Zoho One or they get CRM Plus, which is what it comes with, and it's there. It's so prominent, and they think, oh, this is going to be my new email client, and then like, oh my God, what is this thing? Because it's just so close, but so far. I was almost looking at it the other day because it's set up quasi Kanban, right? So if you look at, for those of you who aren't familiar with Sales Inbox, it basically breaks your emails into, these are my customers, these are in the CRM, they're not in the CRM, they're a deal, wherever they are, it kind of breaks them up that way. And, with our recent love for Sorted, which we talked about a few episodes back, SORTD, if you want to check that out, which basically gives you this Kanban view for mail. I thought, wow, let me revisit Sales Inbox, see if I can maybe do some customization around that. Not the case. And nothing has happened to it. Literally nothing. I mean, I hadn't looked at it in probably a year and a half, and it's identical. So, hopefully we see that, and GameScope maybe get improved. Something's got to happen. I'm hearing more of a sales. They want to push a lot of stuff into Sales IQ though. And like Sales IQ becomes where the data gets pulled into Sales IQ, and Sales IQ's, that Sales IQ is getting way off of where it originally started.
And it wouldn't make a lot of sense to me to do it that way.
I know. But there's a lot of things going into Sales IQ that I never thought I'd see go into Sales IQ as well. So I don't know. We'll, you can almost run help desk out of there the way that application's going right now. All right, let's move on to things we notice and then the Zenatta rankings update. So let's start with that. So for those of you, have we talked about this on the show yet? Our new little resource rankings, Tyler?
I think we may have mentioned it.
All right, so over at Zenatta.com, if you click up in the main nav, we have a section called resources. And if you click on this, basically this is where you can find every article we've ever written, every video we've ever made on any particular product whatsoever. And also we scour for the very best Zoho PDFs and resources, and we link those in here as well. So it's kind of slowly becoming this central spot where if you want to know about a product and you want to check it out, you can actually go here. Well, we've taken this a step further recently, and we've broken the applications into 3 categories: yes, maybe, and no. Yes is our best in class. If this is a Zoho application that you should have no qualms about using in your organization. If your organization adopts it, you'll love it. It's fantastic. Maybe means it's not necessarily best in class, but it might be good enough for what you're doing. And so it's worth taking a look at. We can kind of figure out whether or not that's going to get you where you need to go. And then no, which is we've struggled with this application for so long, and it just is not prime time, and we can't even put it in the maybe column. There's just other things you should be using rather than these applications. And if you look through the list, you'll see most of them are in the yes column, the good chunk in maybe, which those are all pretty good. And so Notebook was in no, but we've now moved Notebook over to the maybe column because it's getting, with all of these latest little improvements, it's gotten a heck of a lot better. And I think it's moving through. So, and we actually got an email from the guys over at the product marketing group for Notebook saying that CRM integration is coming soon. So that's good news. But check out this list. That's some really good stuff over there. And Tyler and I are actually going in studio in 8 days, Tyler. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. We're going to go spend about 8 hours in a studio, and we're going to record product overviews for pretty much as many products as we can get in 8 hours. So that's going to just be a whole lot of fun, I think. We'll see. We'll save the outtakes for a gag reel, but we should be exhausted by the time we're done. But I don't know how many we're going to get through, but we're going to do our best to get through as many as we can. And then you noticed something.
Yes, this is one that I've actually been hoping for a long time, that they've quietly rolled out. And so I've seen it on our account, and I've seen it on a couple client accounts. And basically what this is live updates in your CRM based on actions that are happening via scripts or via field updates. So an example of this is, you move a deal to closed won, and then maybe you have a little workflow that's going to update the closing date to the current date, right? To just say that once you actually win it, it's going to date stamp it. So previously, you'd have to refresh the page to see that update, right? And so a lot of the times that's not that big of a deal, right? If you're going to just close out an opportunity and say you won, you're probably going to click off that page anyways. But there's a lot of times where if you have these scripts or updates doing math or categorizing things, seeing those right away is actually really useful. And having to refresh is, it's not the end of the world, but it's kind of annoying. And a lot of products are moving towards updates without refreshes. So it's made Zoho stand out a little bit because people are used to seeing things just be a little bit slicker. So basically they've rolled this out, and it seems like it's happening on field updates and on scripts that are updating the same record that they're triggered in. So if you trigger a script in a deal that writes into that same deal, that seems to be showing right away. But updates across modules do not. So it's definitely a big improvement, and it's something that they've had over in Zoho Creator for a while, and I've been kind of begging for it to happen in the CRM. I would have expected a bigger announcement about this, especially because I've definitely seen it on some client accounts. But if they expand this to include more and more different types of things being shown without refreshes, I will be a very, very happy guy.
Yeah. Well, they, I swear they did. We talked about this a few shows ago, that they were saying that they were going to roll this out. Maybe we're just not talking on a show. Maybe I just mentioned it in passing, but it's good to see it's out there. I couldn't find anything on this though when we talked about it, so I don't know where I saw that. But anyway, good stuff. And let's move on to our reads of the week. I went back to HubSpot again. This is shocking, but this is, they just have such good articles over there. So we don't sell HubSpot. It's a great application for those of you that want to use it, but their blog, bar none, is the best sales and marketing blog that I've ever seen. I mean, it's just amazing. They have an entire staff of writers. They don't hire outsourced people. These people are on staff and they do nothing but research and write these blog posts. And man, oh man, they're just professional writers doing nice research and doing good stuff. So this is by Olivia Scholes, and it's how digital minimalism helps focus attention and productivity. Recent study found that we spend 6 hours and 42 minutes online every day. And this article basically discusses how you can kind of cut that down. It's a quick little read, about 4 minutes, but I think it's got some nice tips. And it's funny though, as I go through it, but part of the way to be a digital minimalist is to install applications that basically help you minimize your time and monitor you. And as you kind of go through these, I think there's a lot of Zoho apps that I think would fit into this as they talk about what applications you'd want for digital minimalism.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these too are about productivity and kind of efficiency, right? So if you get through all of your stuff faster, you can look at the screen for less time. I think that's what I see as kind of a common theme with these, is there are a lot of productivity tools and kind of efficiency tools that'll help you, kind of plug out a little quicker if you're done with all of your work. Main thing that I've found has helped is, it's natural to kind of take little breaks throughout the day. You're going to take a little 10 minutes, 5 minutes here or there. What I've found is that rather than taking one of those quick little breaks and doing something on the computer, so like maybe watching some type of video or, reading something, take those breaks to actually get away from the computer, right? So for me, with my large dog who might be hearing in the background a little bit, it's, a quick 10-minute walk and actually get away from the computer a little bit. But definitely a nice little guide about how to wrap up your day a little more efficiently and, get out in front of that screen.
Yeah, it's got some. So there's two of these apps. I'm familiar with all of them, but two of them. There's an app called Shift in here, which is kind of interesting. It looks like it's a Gmail plugin that allows you to, I guess, move things to a different time. I don't know, jump between applications. It's one that I want to check out because you know how I love checking out these applications. And then another one called Time Hero, which puts all of your tasks and projects in a central location. And I don't know what it's pulling in or how it's doing it. It looks, again, to be kind of interesting, but there's so many of these SaaS applications out there, all trying to make you more productive. Man, you can just get lost in the quagmire of these things. It's just, I mean, you talk about a time suck, just kind of looking at the things that are going to save you time is quite, there's quite a lot there. So I don't know. Anyhow, all righty. So, and then over at Zenatta, we've got a blog. This was another one, everybody's spinning these things up as work at home. As a matter of fact, the entire, the blog on for Zoho releasing their new little suite of applications for the CRM was all about work at home and putting these in. And this one's really around, but Zapier, but the intent of this blog is to talk about all of the different things that can be integrated into Zoho just using Zapier. And there's some really, really great Zapier integrations. So we've gone through on video conferencing, and we've given you direct links to the Zapier integrations with Zoho for Zoom and GoToMeeting and WebEx, and on productivity, all the direct integrations with Toggle and Harvest and Rescue Time, Twilio, TextMagic, Slack, Blink, and Todoist, Wunderlist, Trello, ClickUp. Basically, there are so many great Zapier integrations for all of these applications. So maybe you're using Zoho, but you haven't bought into the whole enchilada of all the applications. There are some applications you don't want to give up. We just got a list of all direct links to all these Zapier integrations here, and pretty good stuff. And remember, though, always be sure to check out Flow first before you go directly to Zapier, because Flow has some really nifty, deep integration into the CRM, and it might be a better fit for you.
Yep. The benefit of Zapier is always just going to be that they are integrated with just so many products. So, Zoho Flow is always adding new ones, but Zapier's just got a couple of years on them, right, of time developing all these different tools. And there's one interesting thing there, and we'll probably do an implementation on this eventually once it's a little more dialed in. We've actually been working on plugging Zapier into Flow and Flow into Zapier using webhooks that you can send and receive in both places. So you could actually start an automation in Zapier because it's integrated with the tool you need, and then pass it over to Flow to do what you need inside of the CRM. So we've got a client out there who we're kind of putting together these different flows, almost like blocks, right? So each one starts and ends with a webhook, and you kind of just plug them all into each other as you need them based on the specific process. So it's pretty slick. And so we'll do, I'm sure, a video or some type of implementation around that down the line. But even if you only can find your app that you need on Zapier, you can likely end up passing it to Flow to do any of those specialized activities inside of Zoho.
Wow. Yeah, we just want to document the living crud out of that, huh?
No, absolutely.
Oh, man. All righty. And then over at Zenatta.com, we've got a whole bunch of new stuff. If you go over to YouTube, we've got Calendly CRM integration through Zoho Flow. That was an implementation of the week, I believe, right, Tyler, from last week? So we've got that, a nice video on that. And then I did a webinar last week with FormStack, and it's on how to integrate FormStack with Zoho CRM, as well as some kind of case studies and some really nice stuff. We did that with the FormStack team. I want to thank them so much for that. We had a great time. So that's over on the YouTube channel as well. And then we've got some new resource guides we found, 9 nifty tips to optimize web forms, and decision guide for territory management. These are both Zoho PDFs that are just kind of laying out there in the wild. Man, we are finding this stuff all over the place. And so when we find it, we go ahead, we bring it on in, and make it available. So hopefully, if you get a chance to look at this, you'll find something. You go here again. This all sits inside of our resources library. So we're just continuing to add all of these and put them in there. And then we've got our webinar next Tuesday, Tyler, and I have yet to start on the deck. I don't know about you, but I guess that's this weekend. That's a Memorial Day weekend for you. Zoho Desk Overview and Best Practices. That is going to be May 26th at 10 a.m. Pacific time.
And it's going to be a fun one there. I mean, we use Zoho Desk internally for managing a lot of client communications, and there's a lot of quick things that you can do inside of Desk to make it much more powerful that we'll be covering on that webinar.
Yeah, we've got a lot. I mean, I think I've got the actual little, I guess I don't. There it is. I think I've got the base agenda we're going to do here on this just built out. So we're going to do a whole overview and the admin experience, the agent experience, and we're going to then cover email forwarding, addressing, ticket status automation, email snippets. Hey, I guess we're going to change email snippets now, huh?
Email templates, yeah, following their update.
To email templates. And then we're going to cover the knowledge base. So be pretty good. So if you want to know about Desk, tune in next Tuesday. Or if you're listening to this on Monday, tune in tomorrow. All right. And then our application of the week, ZShare. So Zoho did a major update of their ZShare application as well. And this just continues to get better and better. This actually was on, I think, episode 7. We talked about this. So those of you who are unfamiliar, if you use Zoho Social in Zoho Socials like Hootsuite, it allows you to centrally manage all of your social media posts. Then you also can use the Zoho Social application to go ahead and add posts and send them to your various social media properties. So, for example, if you're watching the screen right now, I'm on this HubSpot blog about digital minimalism. And if I actually clicked the Zoho Social Z Share button, it takes that entire page and just basically nicely turns it into a post that I can then send out to my Twitter account, to my LinkedIn account, to my Facebook account, to whatever accounts I want to. And you can go ahead and edit this entire area. You can schedule it out. You can change the images. It pulls all the images from the various blogs. You can pull those in as well. You can tell it you want to post as a thumbnail, and you just go ahead and schedule it out, and away you go. It's an extremely handy, extremely useful tool. I highly recommend it. And it's just one that kind of, most people just don't know about. It gets buried. And if you're using Zoho Social, though, and you want to keep a real active social media account, especially if you're looking at other people's articles and you're kind of just doing quick posts on check this out, you're reposting things, it's a great tool for that, and I highly recommend it. All right, and let's move on to our tip and trick. We pulled one from Zoho this week, blocking IP addresses in Sales or IQ.
Yeah, and this is basically where, Sales IQ is what you use to run your chat tool on the website, as well as tracking the amount of visitors and how they're interacting with your website. But one of the big challenges with this is that Sales IQ gives a little box that anyone can fill in and send messages to your team. Those messages also will often set up to forward into Desk as tickets. So if people are flooding this with, dummy information, it can be a huge headache. It's basically, this tip and trick is just a quick walkthrough of how to identify the IP address of one of those people who are chatting you, and then block it so that they're not allowed to chat through your little chat tool anymore and bother your employees. It also gives a little guide on how to do this via Zobots as well, so that even if you have an automation to chat with your web visitors, you can still actually block out certain IP addresses.
Yeah, it's pretty nifty. I have to say, the funniest part of this there's a screenshot in here where an agent is having a chat session and they're about to block the IP. It's just a perfectly normal chat session.
I did notice that. It's just a chat of someone asking for some help and a brochure, and they block their IP.
Yeah, would you please send them to? Yes, I'm tired of talking to this person. Goodbye. Anyway, but it's a nice little tip and trick. A lot of people, if you're using Sales IQ and you're using it, I don't know, this has been happening to us lately. I've just been getting just crazy spam from people trying to sell me lists,
Yep, we get them in our ticketing inbox, because companies will go out and they'll find Zenatta.com. And unfortunately, it's a pretty good assumption that support@Zenatta.com is going to forward somewhere. Right. So they basically go through and they just canvas and then spam out to all these different support addresses. It's very annoying, and you can block them as spam in Desk, but it's oftentimes they're using different senders each time.
Right.
So you never can really block them out. IP addresses are going to be better than just an email address to block those. So it's definitely a good way to catch it.
I can't block the things that come into help desk, but we do get those crazy chats, and it's all people selling lists. I mean, that's the biggest spam that we get. I mean, my inbox is just full of that on a daily basis. It's crazy. All right. Well, another show is in the bag. If you've got questions or comments, you can send them over to us at info@zenatta.com, or just head over to zenatta.com and click on drop us a line.
And on the website is where you'll find complete episodes as well as show notes with links to the stories that we discussed today. You can also follow us on your favorite social media platform and subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app as well as on YouTube. We'll see you next Monday.